Here we are again, continuing our adventure into Enshrouded, this amazing voxel-based survival game which has so much content, including a great base building system that I might be semi-addicted to. And if you want to see the previous videos, here they are, but enough yapping, let's get back to where we left off. After our great adventure into the Hollow Halls, I think we need to start advancing a little more. And right now, something that's super holding us back is the survivor quests. Not this huge list of normal ones we have, I mean the item quests we've been ignoring. Ones like the hand spindle, the blacksmith's crucible, and the carpenter's table saw. All of these items could skyrocket our character's strength. And speaking of strength, we upgrade our new skull bow to get it to level 15. Then we're heading out. First stop, Revelwood, with the aim of getting that crucible for the blacksmith. Then we can smelt copper to make tons of new items, which of course is protected by scavengers like everything in this game, and is quite nicely situated in an old copper mine, so would be rude not to. Then exploring further, we find the crucible behind a very explodable mound of mud, so first objective done. Just spend a little bit more time clearing out some of the scavengers who are getting tougher with these new enemies. Okay, he was actually pretty tough. But now on to our next quest of getting the carpenter's saw, which takes us back over the terrifying Deadly Shroud and through the woods to another camp, which should hold the saw. But before we enter, we notice some materials we haven't seen yet. Clay, which we need for bricks, and I'm sure tons of items as well. So take a while picking that clean before the pickaxe breaks. Now time to get that saw, which of course is protected by scavengers as well, so we scour through the camp, taking out scavengers as we go, including another one of those scavenger bosses. But no saw blade, it's actually down the road. But in our searching, we did find something, a very cute doggo. But I have nothing to get him yet, so had to break my heart and leave him there for now. Then we head home, just to drop off some loot, then we can carry on with our quest later. For now, we speak to the blacksmith, getting the typical response, thanks mate, then find out we need bricks to make the smelter, which we haven't done yet. So after a very confusing look at the charcoal kiln, we finally realise we can craft one with the carpenter. But now we're running out of space for the blacksmith. So a small renovation later, and we have plenty of space for the future. And placing down the kiln and loading it with clay and wood to make the bricks. But this might take some time, so spend some time strengthening the flame, as all we need is shroudwood, flintstone, and mycelium, which are all super easy to acquire, so this doesn't take long. And we strengthen the flame to level 3, which will now allow us to venture into the shroud and Revelwood, and also survive longer in the fog. But of course, the bricks still aren't done, so time to finish the carpenter saw quest. Flying over the now not so deadly shroud, and finding the quest location. But we have some fun shooting some explosive barrels, then jump in to finish off the scavengers. And finally finding the saw blade, accompanied with another gorger. So swiftly take her out and head home. Straight away grabbing the bricks and building that smelter. Then popping it down and throwing in some charcoal and copper to get it going, which again is going to take a while, so onto the table saw. So we trap the carpenter in a corner and craft the saw, placing it outside and filling it with as much wood as we can to make into planks. Now all there really is to do is wait. So we chat with the survivors who have all sorts of quests for us, then with some of the smelted copper, craft a new copper axe and pickaxe. Then it's time to head out and get the hunter's hand spindle, where we have to head back to Revelwood, then into a cave which is filled with loads of our 8-legged friends. But it doesn't take us long to find the hand spindle. Then as I think it's time to leave, I think we've stirred the spider nest. If that's even a thing. But these bugs don't stand a chance. I'm a veteran helldiver. But of course, as we finish off these pests, we get another quest, a cure for hemotoxin. Something I presumably got from the last fight. It's okay, we'll speak to Balthazar when we get home. But first, we place down the hand spindle, putting it to work making linen. Then when we speak to the hunter, she of course tells us about a potential good boy in the Revelwood area. Yep, we've definitely already seen him. And now, we're going to grab him. Just first to sort out the poison, and after speaking to Balthazar, it is as simple as curing it out of moth wings, which for some reason, I've already been collecting, so we're cured. Well, that was easy. But as with everything in this game, it all comes at once. Remembering we can craft a better glider with the carpenter, so we quickly mark down what we need. Then quickly to whip up some dog bait, because we're getting that puppy. So here's the plan. Firstly, we get the doggo, then we head down to the shroud and get our new glider items. But of course, our plan gets all kind of messed up where the camp where the dog is chilling has respawned. And with my massive ego, I think I can take them all on at once, which after minutes of running away is proven I cannot take them all on. Okay, attempt 2. This time, we take a quieter approach and grab our boy, Ruffles. But now to avenge my ego, which I may say I do magnificently. So, objective 1 done. Now to the Shroud, where I only need Shroud sacks. So after taking a peek around, we find the plant that dropped them, and head home. Straight away grabbing all the items I need to make Ruffles feel at home, then place his bed and bowl in my house, of course. And finally, we have a woofer. Oh, and of course, we make the glider and level up our character with more constitution and strength. But mainly, Ruffles, who I think is causing me to want to stay home, as for a while after, we just put work into the base, trying to build a new house for a villager, and why not use some bricks? But after trying to mix it up with our poopy stone, yes, these don't match. So we're going full brick, which of course means a clay mining trip, where we fill up on clay, then drop it all off in the kiln. And why not, whilst we wait, get some copper too, which gives us a lot less copper, but hey ho, still got some. Then we finish off the new house, which still looks a little bit out of place, but we can fix that later. And now to add the newest survivor to the base, if you can call him that. And for Skelly Boy here, I've got a unique base idea. I really like the idea of making a tunnel under our base that comes out by the cliff below, and we can make Skelly Boy's house down there. So we dig a huge hole and begin to place down the hollow blocks from the other day just to make him feel at home, and try out some new luminescent blocks to light up down here, which I really like. And of course, our new edition has a ton of new quests, which all sound a little bit spooky. Then as I'm on a roll, I throw down another basic house too, but with some building done. I'll be honest, the quest list is freaking me out. There are too many quest markers, so here's the plan. We are going full on quest grind mode. But first to kit out with some new gauntlets and boots. Then, let's go. And first stop is the Low Meadows, which I haven't really explored much, well, unless you count the bunch of deaths there the other day. But we venture into the Shroud, finding another Night Sanctum, which, like the last one, is a little bit disappointing, with a bunch of traps and a gem forge that I can't use. Followed by a very easy Shroud because I'm over leveled for this area, but then do find something very interesting. This weird growth thing that will conjure fell enemies. Oh, you have my attention. But we need a Shroud core, so I guess I'll do that soon. And obviously the game heard me because somehow I flew through the world and got teleported back to the start of the game. Huh? Okay, well, we'll get the Shroud core now then. And upon returning, the enemies it spawns are kind of just basic enemies. Oh well, we carry on adventuring, heading north out of the Shroud, finding another ancient obelisk. Still no idea what these actually do. And whilst looting a small village in the area, we find one of the best items. New building blocks. Roughly cut stone. Oh my god. So I guess soon we're going to do a lot more base building. But for now, we follow a quest called Celebrate the Pact of the Flame, which gives me some new drip. Damn, I look good. And with our new look, we find probably the biggest town I've seen so far. Like literally, they had a full sewer system. But in the end, the town didn't really hold much good loot. So we headed to the next big area nearby, an elixir well. So time to get our hands dirty, fighting a big bug and a lot of small ones too. But with her dealt with, we cut down the route and get on our way. Heading home to drop off the loot so far. But with how well the Low Meadows excursion went, time to get Springlands done too. So we head to all the little question marks on the map, finishing off all the Shroud routes in Springlands, even getting a little achievement. Yep, top 19% baby. And wiping out a Shroud layer whilst we're here. We did also find 2 massive structures that just don't seem to open, so maybe they're for later in the game or something. But for now, we've blasted through the southwest of Springlands, and finally it's looking free from quests. Can't say the same for the rest of the map though. Now time to add that new nice looking stone to the base. And as I need rubble to craft more, I head back to one of the starting zones and start mining. But soon think I'm big brain and come up with a better way of getting the blocks, just to find out later it's a lot easier just to craft them. Oh. Well, that feels stupid now. But with our new building blocks, we go a little bit ham upgrading some of the buildings, and damn, got to say, it does look good. But then I think it's about time to venture north again to Revelwood, where we clear a couple of the few basic quests, including taking out more of the scavengers, who this time I destroy.
He's beginning to believe.
Oh, we absolutely just rinsed him. Whoa. Which also comes with me realizing I've gained tons of skill points and not used any of them. So max out the warrior skill tree, grabbing swift blades to attack faster, and grabbing the last constitution node. A little while later, we find ourselves venturing into a cave called Rind Teeth Grotto. And what would you know? It's housing a shroud room, which by this point, we are pros at cutting down and get rewarded with a very sick looking shield. And now I just remembered I never told you about the other shield I got, but oh well, new one. But with our victory, we head home for a little bite to eat. Oh, no! Oh, misclick, but it's okay. Fixed. With the drama over, back to Revelwood, where we find weird balls and mine a new material called Amber, which gives us a cheeky level up, allowing us to get a skill called Battle Heal, which you'll soon see is very overpowered. Then back to a little bit of shroud grinding, as we need some materials for home, so we can build some new bigger magic chests. Nice. But now actually back to Revelwood, where we find another ancient obelisk, then back to the shroud, where we find out Shroud Revelwood is no joke. And after a little shroud exploring, we head out, deciding to destroy a scavenger camp from the other day because why not? Which was kind of lucky because I found a building block that I've never seen before. But then on to more quests in the area, but mainly this one here to help find a hidden hunting ground, which I'll be honest, I ran around trying to find for way too long, then got bored, so I went to do these night sanctums instead, where the first one gave me a new survivor and the second one just gave me crappy underleveled gear. Then heading back to town near the hidden hunting grounds, thinking I must be missing something, to then find another soul, then get fed up and just climb over the cliff anyway. And of course, just to see there's literally an opening from the other side this whole time. Oh, I'm a dummy. But at least we get another obelisk. Now the Revelwood questing continues. First heading back to the deadly Lumen Light Cave from a few days back, which thank God we can explore now, and destroy the Shroud Room. Then realise I have a quest nearby with a sword as a reward, so quick tear through some Shroud Men and a tiny bit of grave robbing later, and we've got this crazy looking sword called the Hail Scourge, which we have to upgrade and socket with a gem soon. But for now, back to the Revelwood Shroud, where we take on a dungeon which soon turns into chaos. With the final room of the dungeon, we had to fight a bunch of Shroud Men, including 2 big boys, and we just get overwhelmed and end up falling. But weirdly not for long, as for some reason I just got back up. Wait, pause. Okay, this was weird, but looking back at it now, the only thing I can imagine is happening is a weird mix of my new Battle Heal skill and my Life Leech ring, as for some reason as I die, they revive me with health I get from the crits or Life Leech, so I'm basically immortal. Crazy. But this goes on for a little while, me running away in an extremely dark hallway and this weirdly small arena, then getting hammered by all the AI enemies at once. So we run away for a second and just close the door. Right, a little breather. And now, let's do this. First isolating one of the big guys, then fighting off the rest. Jesus, this was messy. And honestly, our first super hard fight. I mean, I did die literally like 5 times, but we move on. Leaving the dungeon, then finding a massive shroud layer underground, filled with tons of these archaic essences that we use for the gems. So of course, we fill up as much as we can. Then finally head home, where we place down our new survivors and the souls we've collected, one being a barber who can actually change our looks, but we keep it the same for now. And with new survivors means more building, so we expand a little, building a new house, then get a little carried away with upgrading previous houses, which takes us quite a while, but this place is really coming along. But with our sidetrack stage out of the way, now to finally strengthen the flame to level 4. But there's a lot of items we need, so next task is to get everything on this list. Starting with goo, which we need shroud mushrooms for, so straight to Revelwood Shroud for some grinding. And what would you know, another one of the items we need is sat right there. Corrupted tusks. Sorry cool looking boars, this isn't personal. But with a lot more mushrooms and another boar, we head out of the shroud on the hunt for another item we need, indigo plants, which to be honest would have been a lot easier to find in the daylight, but who am I to tell past me what to do? And by pure chance we somehow find a hidden flame shrine that actually gives us 2 sparks, which we also need for the upgrade. Damn, it's all coming together. And after the sun finally comes up, what would you know, we start to find the indigo plants, and a lot of them. So we head home to check on our progress. Well, we've already got enough indigo plants and sparks, and after we craft some goo, we'll almost be there. Just need some more corrupted tusks, then the final item, a fell Wispwyvern's head. That sounds big, but before we get to that, a spot of chill cooking, and we decide to finally upgrade this gnarly looking Hail Scourge sword from the other day, which gives the sword some beefy looking stats. But we follow this up with the most epic entrance we've done so far. Yeah, brother. Then add a gem that adds blunt damage after blocking. Even better. But now to venture out and find me a wyvern. And first stop, the Revelwood Shroud again. To finish off the corrupted tusk gathering, then time to put our new shroud sword to the test, with a few more kitted shroud men. And damn, they didn't stand a chance. But carry on our search outside of the shroud, finding a tomb where the poor skelly boys don't stand a chance either, and get rewarded with a colour palette for the colour station, which we haven't even made yet. But it's about time we return to our favourite place, the Shroud, where there's a Shroud root precariously placed under this massive bridge, but we can't just destroy the Shroud root, we need to fight his friends too, which happens to be this big guy right here, who thanks to our new sword, doesn't stand a chance. For now, we clear out the rest of the Shroud men, getting us a level up. Then we carry on to a hill above Elixir Well, where we decide to place down a sort of forward base, then we can go home, drop off our loot, then come back. Where we decide to dive into the Elixir Well, where we take out a good amount of enemies, then we head to the route where we are greeted with two big Shroud men who almost get me with a double slam, but in the end we come out on top, destroying the route and getting even more skill points, so we pick up the jump attack skill, which is very epic. As we carry on onto our quest to find the wyvern, we are coming up on a huge cluster of quests, which seems to be a massive town infested with the Shroud. So we might be on the right track. We start to venture through the town, killing enemies as we go, and start to find a set of armor called the Guard of the North, which looks very nice, so we've got to find all of them. And carrying on our conquest, we quickly get humbled by a group of enemies who literally destroyed my health, so we've got to be more careful. Continuing with caution, fighting the enemies who killed me before, then another big boy Shroud. Damn, this place is no joke. So we continue on, completing any quests we can, destroying Shroud roots, and fighting off tons of enemies with random weapons. Because this place is so big, I've used both of my weapons already. But luckily, we find an anvil to repair our equipment, even finding more pieces of that cool looking armor. Then level up, getting a skill to help with our weapon durability, but with the main part of the town cleared, there's one place left to check. And this to me looks like a boss arena. So here goes nothing. And we've done it. We've defeated the Wispwyvern, and we've got his head for the flame. What a fight. Then after searching the castle, we find the last piece of the Guard of the North armor, and I think we've conquered the city. All that's left to do is head home, strengthen the flame to level 4, and of course try on our new armor. Damn!